Hi everybody, welcome to Deb's Way. I'm Deb, and today is hashtag Tea Tuesday again. It seems to come real soon, real fast, you know, but anyway, it's a day of relaxation around here. I'm back in the sewing room working on the September Pioneer quilt block, and I'm going to take you along for the day. So sit back, relax, get you something to drink, and oh yeah, you can see the board back in the back there where I hung up the last block there with the red on it. Actually, it's kind of like an orangey red, but anyway, it's the one that's kind of reddish looking. That was last month's quilt block. So today is the day I am working on September quilt block. And it's only the beginning of the month, so I'm doing good. So sit back and join me here and we'll get this done in no time, okay? I have cut out the material. Just a second. I've got the material all cut out, ready to go. And once again, we're working on the Arizona block right there. Hopefully you can see it. And I did not look ahead to October yet, but might not be too bad either. We shall see about October. I'm going to finish September today. So let's get started. Okay, this is the material I'm working with for the September Arizona block. I have a 6-inch square of light. I've got a 1 3x6 rectangle of the light, a 5 1/4 inch square of the light, and then there are 4 of these 2 1/2 inch squares of my light color. Of my first medium, I have a 3x6 rectangle, and then I also have 4 of these 2 1/2 by 4 1/2 inch rectangles. Okay, then I have a second medium, just this one piece here. This is a 4 1/2 inch square. My dark color, this is my dark color. I have one square that is 6 1/2 inches and one that is 6. Okay, so that's what I have of my fabric that I'm going to make this block out of. Let me put the first 2 pieces together, which will be the 6-inch squares of my dark and my light, and I'll bring that back and show you what I'm going to do with them. Okay, I've got my 6-inch block and my 3x6 rectangle here put together, right sides together. If I can get this apart here now, yeah. Right sides are together on both blocks. And on the rectangular size rectangle, I halved it by 3 inches first. Here, let me come in here first like this. I halved it by 3 inches first and drew the center line. And then I went down each corner and made the diagonal line. That's going to be my stitch line. And it goes in this direction. So it looks like that. This is my stitch line on both sides of the little square that I'm going to come out with. And I'm going to sew on each side of these lines up down the middle. The same with this big square. Okay, I halved the square by 3 inches on the top, bottom, and the sides, and then I went through and I halved each square, making triangles here. I'm going to stitch along this line on each side on each square. So I'm going to end up with several triangles here. Okay, let me get stitching and I'll bring it back and show you when I get everything cut apart. Oh, and also along each of these lines down the middle here, making triangles, I'm only sewing a 1/4 inch seam. And that's along both sides. So where's my hem gauge? Where is my hem gauge? I always measure this just to make sure And it's right there. This is the 6-inch square that I sewed along this. Well, it's forming triangles here along the whole square. I'm going to cut along that pink line there and make my little triangles. It's going to end up looking like that. Let me get that cut apart and then I'll show you what that looks like. But also I did the rectangle here, and I went and sewed on each side of this pink line, on each side, and I'm going to cut that apart. So let me show you what it looks like when I've got it all cut apart and pressed. Alright, I've trimmed up all the squares. I trimmed up all the squares here, pressed them, and they're in piles of 4, along with the 4 light squares that I have. And they're going to be paired together here. Let me see if you can see this. It's going to go, I have them laying out here in the way that they're to be sewn together. Okay. It's going to go this way, one light block over to this one, and this block over to this one, and then it's going to be sewn down the middle. So let me get these together to form the second square that I'm going to be working with. Now this is called chain stitching. I mean, when you have like items that you're just sewing together in that, you can go ahead and make a chain of it and then cut them apart, press, and it's just kind of, well, I guess maybe it's kind of like a little time saver. So I'm going to cut these all apart and I'm going to press them, and I'll bring it back and show you what they look like. Now I've got my, well, rectangles, actually they're rectangles now. I'm going to be sewing it into a square. So they are going to go, I've got 2 piles of the 2 different kinds of little squares sewn together, and they are going to go this way so that each square will end up looking like that. So let me get that sewn together. Okay, my next chain is done. Let me get these all cut apart. Aha, not bad. And I'll get it all pressed up and bring it back, and we'll start working on the next block or whatever I'm going to be working on. I don't know yet, but let me get these all cut apart. Okay, I'm bringing you back because all the squares are supposed to look like this. Well, I had one that was a little cockeyed, so I had to tear it apart, and I'm redoing it. That's the way it is with sewing, any type of sewing, close sewing, quilting, anything. You think you're doing it right, but you know, sometimes it just doesn't turn out that way. The squares are supposed to come out looking like this, okay? And somehow I ended up with an odd one here. How did that happen? I don't know. That's right, that's right, and that's right. So I need one that looks not like this. Something happened wrong. I gotta tear it apart. That happens every now and then. That's why I thought I'd bring it back and let you see that I have to kind of twirl this around and make it right. Somehow I didn't sew it together right. So let me get this corrected. Okay, my next chain is done. Let me get these all cut apart. Aha, not bad. And I'll get it all pressed up and bring it back, and we'll start working on the next block or whatever I'm going to be working on. I don't know yet, but let me get this corrected. Okay, whoops, I got a string. All my blocks look the same. And I guess that's what I was just trying to tell you, that no, I'm not perfect. You know, you make mistakes. As mistakes happen, you just go back and fix it and take care of it. And that's what I did. So we'll put these aside until we're ready to work on them. And next, let's see, what am I doing next? It looks like I'm working with my light and possibly my dark, I believe. All right, next I'm going to be working with the 6.5 inch dark square and the 5 1/4 inch light square, right sides together. I'm going to match up the points here, then draw a line down the middle, and then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on each side of that line. Okay, so let me get that going and I'll bring it back when I have that all done. I've stitched down the line here that I drew, 1/4 inch on each side. I'm going to cut along this pink line here so that I will end up with 2 shapes like this, and I'll press it and bring it back and show you the next step. And I finished the rectangle that I was working on. It's all sewn together, cut and pressed, so it looks like this. Okay, and it's going to be in a pile like that, and I'm going to match it with my other medium color, the rectangle shape, and they'll be sewn together like this. So it's right sides together going that direction, sew it together 1/4 inch seam, and it'll look like this when it's done. So let me get it sewn together and I'll bring it back. This is what my square looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I've pressed it. I have 4 of them. Let me get everything laid out here. This is the center. Let me get everything laid out here and I'll bring it back and show you what it's gonna look like when it gets all sewn together. This is the September block all laid out the way that it's going to be sewn together. And how I'm going to start is by sewing this center piece here to that, and then this piece to that. So this first row will be done, and I'll do the same here too. The center piece will go to that, and then this piece to the center piece, so middle row will be done. And same thing with this, that row to that, or this block to that, this block to this one. So I'll have 3 rows done, and then you just kind of sew the rows together separately. Okay, I'll bring it back when it's all sewn together and pressed and ready to be hung on my quilt display board. Well, I have finished September. This is the September block. And the next time you see it, it will be hanging back on the wall here. Well, you know, not on the wall really, but on my material, my display wall of sorts. But that was September. Not too bad. It went together pretty easily. Or am I just getting more used to it? I don't know. Anyway, that's it for this month. So I will be starting to cut out the material for the October block and getting that going. Maybe I can even have that done maybe later on this month, if not the early part of October. But first of all, here, I want to show you this. I bought this just recently and got it at the Sewing Studio, which that's the store that I showed you I go shopping at most of the time, and that's where I take a lot of classes. I love the classes. They range from basic sewing to very skilled sewing, and they have, you know, all sorts of classes regarding making clothes or quilting, or they even started classes on that scan and cut, which I don't know much about that, so I'm not into that just yet. And I say just yet because who knows. But I was in there the other day and I found something that I decided to give a try. It's a Robert Kaufman fat quarter bundle. And there's like, well, how many are there? 3, 6, 9, 12 fat quarters in this bundle. And they're all of the fall theme. I haven't unwrapped it yet, but I will be doing something with this in the near future. Something that is a little bit easier than this Pioneer sampler that I'm working on, but still pretty. Matter of fact, let me take apart here. Very pretty fall colors. That's one. Leaves. Ooh. I like that. And a lot of these, like this one here, has a gold trim around the leaves. And I'm a gold person. I love the color gold. I love gold jewelry. You know, that's my favorite. Hopefully you can see it in this lighting. That's pretty. Very similar, but a little different. And this fabric bundle really does remind me of fall colors. And by fall colors, I mean what you see up north. You don't see fall colors like this down here. Okay, and this one's pretty. And this is the last piece. Very, very pretty bundle. So we'll see what I do with that. I may bring you along. Who knows? I may have started something new here on my channel. Come quilt with me type of thing. But anyway, I guess I've gotten kind of enthused about sewing, especially since nowadays, you know, ever since the pandemic hit, and even still because of the pandemic, we spend a lot of time here at home. We really do. So I need to keep myself busy. Sewing is a nice way to do that. So anyway, that's about it for now. So enjoy your Tea Tuesday. I'm glad you stopped by and shared a little bit of your time, a little bit of your day with me. I appreciate every single one of you out there. And for those of you who are watching that haven't subscribed to my channel yet, come on, why don't you subscribe? It doesn't cost you anything, and it kind of helps my numbers, you know, to get my videos aired out there more. So I would appreciate that. Just go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell and come on back and watch some more videos. I do try my best to have a video out every Tuesday and every Friday. So, and it could be a, you know, I needed to get a new trailer started because just to update things. Well, not much has changed really, but just update, you know. I do shopping, I do a little gardening. Matter of fact, I've pulled off some itty bitty tomatoes from the last holdout in my garden. And like in the beginning of the summer, I had maybe 5 or 6 little itty bitty tomatoes from this one tomato plant. Nothing the rest of the summer until just within the last couple weeks, and all of a sudden now I'm getting some more tomatoes, so that's good. And we're not talking enough to can by any means. I would like to get into canning more. I do dehydrate a little bit. I do a lot of cooking and baking and, you know, things like that. Traveling, well, I love to travel, but haven't done much of it for the past, oh my gosh, almost 2 years now. Can you believe it? Since the pandemic. But hopefully things will ease up in the near future and we can do some more traveling, you know. But anyway, that's about it for this time. Hope you're all having a good one out there. You take care, and we'll be talking again real soon. But for this Tea Tuesday and this little sewing circle time with you, time with me, it's going to be bye for now. By the way, Nona Grace, I got this idea of a clear mat or plastic piece to put on the floor to put my sewing pedal on, my foot pedal. It works. It works beautifully. My pedal does not slide all over the place. It stays put pretty much down there, and I'm so pleased. Thank you for the tip. It works. I just thought I'd add that in here.